Escape Rose was a creative game where they played and they escaped from each other's shapes. And what you get is, when you take it out of context, you get these shapes that are really strange and angular, but they also denote parts of the body that were a part of the shape. Does that make sense? So if you were holding onto a leg, that leg is still there, and it's all that idea of limbs, bodies, playing around with limbs and bodies, this idea of pulling the shirt. You know when you go to a shop and you look in the shop window and the shirts look fantastic? You've got those 17 crocodile flips in the back. You know that one? So we played around with just that idea of buying into it, and the idea that some of it's quite sarcastic. It's as sarcastic because by nature I'm from the north, we're born but I love the idea that I hate beauty industry, but I also buy into it. Does that make sense? Because I do still want that pair of trip jeans. You know what I mean? I still want them shoes. So I buy into it, but I love the fact that there's such a two polarised view. It's either hate or love, isn't it? There's all that stuff in between that come in. It's quite an emotive subject, and I detest it. And do you notice by the soundtrack, it's got a bit of America's Next Top Model on there? I never watch it, but my girlfriend told me this is a bit if you want on there. So it's all those voices are recognisable to some people. I don't particularly recognise them. Someone called Beyonce. So there's all those kind of really odd little statements, and it's just really interesting to see. I really enjoy seeing the ape and the human next to each other, and you get a sense that they're really different worlds, aren't they? But they're really quite interesting when you see an ape that's got that much lipstick on. I mean, I know quite and it really calls into question the idea of beauty and the industry of beauty as well. Do you want to say anything else about the little bits and pieces of beauty? Because we've made it over such a long time, like 10, 11 weeks. Do you want to say anything else about it?
Well, I think the really exciting bit for us is to give just a loose frame, which leaves us so much space to fill out. Like you see here, 7 different beauties and beasts at the same time. We are not given precise movements what to do or steps, but we can just simply imagine our ideal of a beast or of ape or of beauty, and then give our imagination to the group, to the audience. So this is, I think, the artistic challenge to be like a real ape and to be 7 different apes.
That's quite a challenge. There's a lot to do in 10 stroke 11 weeks. Do you feel like you want to ask us any questions about what you've just seen?
Is it really satisfying to not just do classes, but to work towards a performance? Is it really satisfying to come to this day where you actually show it?
Yeah.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it? It's a little bit nervous.
I think I'm kind of the people because for me it's really the process of creation which is more interesting than the performance itself. It's how every single step that you think is already fixed in time and in position can evolve all the time. And something can come out of it. So it's continuous increments of new things coming in over the process of the creation.
I think there's also an element of being out of your comfort zone when you perform.
Yeah.
I think that for me that's something that is very, very important because you get used to the class, you get used to the movement, and then suddenly you have people to project something. That's a completely different thing.
With a piece like this, it's quite good because I think it means something different to all of us, around the same kind of idea. So it's interesting to see what you guys think of it as well.
It's nice to do a polished piece because when you do drop-in classes, you never really get the finesse of your work. And it's also because I've taken Phil's classes, so it's also nice to see what he does as a choreographer in a performance environment as opposed to just a technical class.
Any other questions?
I know that this is for you, not for you.
It's fine.
I know Phil tends to, when he teaches timing and counting and structure, it's important that he'll often change up timing and counts and combinations just to mix things up. So for you, as you were doing this and putting this together, how are you thinking about timing and counting
passages during the whole piece where you have bits where you really want to be synchronizing the group, so you need to be precise on the beat. You need to have your to jump or something, but it's intermixed with periods where you just have, okay, here this is your key, here you have to start, and this is your point where you have to be ready or finished, and in between do whatever you like, just be ready for the next part. And this is it varies actually a lot from run to run in those variable bits actually.
Also, the music, I made the music, so I kept going over and tweaking bits and adding 4 there and adding 4 and just tweak, going, oh, I'll put a cue point in there, I'll put a little cheeky thing in there. The great thing about making disciplines is I can do it, make it whatever structure I want. So in terms of certain structural elements, things happen. The guitar comes in, dum, 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 deliberately at that point, and I made it happen at that point. So rather than actually always having to fix them, I was allowed to fix the music as well. So to measure for it. Any other questions?